costing $29, the hot dog at Mischa is without a doubt one of the most expensive in New York City, and that's before tax and tip. However, the dish and the restaurant has received a great deal of praise. Still, that's a lot of money for a hot dog, but I had to see if it was worth it.
Today I'm here in New York City at Bryant Park, and the holidays are in full swing. The park already has their winter village set up. It's pretty early, it's mid-November right now, but still, I love the holidays. Anyways, right now I'm just sitting back, relaxing, drinking some coffee, doing a little reading, but earlier in the day, I may have just consumed the most expensive hot dog in New York City. It cost $29, and that was before tax and tip. I got the hot dog from a new American-style restaurant called Mischa, located in Midtown, Manhattan. I was actually made aware of the restaurant solely because of their hot dog. I mean, when you have a dish that is, usually pretty cheap and affordable, and you give it a price tag of $29, you're gonna be making some waves. As a result, there have been numerous reviews of Mischa, including a pretty respectable 2-star review from the New York Times. Their hot dog has pretty much become one of the most talked about dishes in New York City for the year of 2023, and I just had to try it. Now, I have no problem paying more money for good quality food, but $29 is still pretty expensive for a hot dog, so I wanted to see if it was worth it. This is my lunch at Mischa.
Mischa is located inside the iconic 601 Lexington Avenue skyscraper known as the Citigroup Center. To dine at Mischa, one would have to enter the Hugh Food Hall, which is in my opinion a beautifully designed and nice place to eat in Midtown Manhattan. The restaurant is perched above the food hall in a spacious and modern dining room. The establishment is the product of chef Alex Stupak, who previously worked at the illustrious 3 Michelin-starred Alinea in Chicago and the innovative WD-50 on the Lower East Side of New York City. Stupak then went on to opening multiple establishments with the Empellón brand, including a massive flagship restaurant that's only located a few blocks away from Mischa. I got seated at about noon for lunch. There weren't many customers in the restaurant at the time, but a steady stream of diners came in throughout my meal. Turning my attention to the menu, I knew that I was going to get the hot dog, but I also took advantage of the lunch prefix option, which sounded like it provided good value. With the set menu, one gets to choose a starter, main, and dessert for $42. Considering that I would be able to get an appetizer and dessert for $13 more than what I would have paid for just the hot dog, the prefix menu was an easy choice. Another value-minded way to get the hot dog is to take advantage of Mischa's happy hour, which offers a cocktail and the hot dog for $32. After relaying my order, it wasn't long until I received my first course. I got the gem lettuce Caesar salad with seasoned breadcrumbs and cured egg yolk. It was good. The lettuce was fresh and crisp, while the breadcrumbs added a nice texture. Plus, it was a pretty decent-sized portion. While it was unquestionably a satisfying salad, I was expecting just a bit more. I would have loved at least one other element or component to add a sense of uniqueness to the dish. Looking at Mischa's dinner menu, it's clear that those courses are far more innovative and exciting. Still, in many fine dining restaurants, the offerings for lunch are far more subdued compared to what's available for dinner. At the same time, I would have appreciated just something a bit more with the salad, but like I said, it was still a nice dish. After finishing, it was time for what I was truly at the restaurant for, the hot dog. There's no question about it, the dish is very impressive. It certainly looks costlier than the typical New York City hot dog, and for what I'm paying for it, it damn well should. To me, it's no surprise that a dish like this exists in NYC, a city of extremes and high prices. But I was excited, and I normally don't get that way with hot dogs. For my first bite, I wanted to sample the dog just as it was without any of the toppings, and it was pretty satisfying. The classic hot dog taste was definitely there, but it was amplified to a refined level. Emulsified brisket and pork fat make up the sausage, lending it a wonderful flavor that is complemented by the juiciness and pleasant snap of the hot dog casing. It's also a hefty frank, one that is definitely larger and thicker than average. Weighing 8 ounces, the hot dog is not something that Joey Chestnut would be able to down in a second. In fact, diners are supplied with a pretty serious looking knife if one wants to consume the dish with silverware, but I had no problem using only my hands. In terms of the potato bun, it was on another level as well. It was fresh and fluffy with so much flavor. Plus, it was able to keep its form under the sheer weight of the sausage and when I added the toppings. Quite simply, it was the best bun that I've ever had with a hot dog. Next, I turned my attention to the numerous condiments one is supplied with. I started with the bowl of hot brisket chili, which by itself was very tasty, but when I added it to the dog, it was fantastic. My strategy with the toppings was not to put them on all at once, but rather to sprinkle them on in different combinations for each couple of bites. Two of the condiments, the yellow mustard and the green pickle relish, were hot dog standards, but the other three on the tray were a bit more unique. One appears to be sauerkraut, but it's actually kimchi. Another is a fiery red Chinese chili crisp with bacon. I really like that one. It doesn't appear like there's much of it on the tray, but a little goes a long way. It definitely had some heat to it. The final topping was a creamy pimento cheese, which had the most muted flavor out of the offerings, but was still pretty nice. With such a variety of toppings, it was like a choose-your-own culinary hot dog adventure. I certainly had a fun time distributing the condiments across the sausage and trying different flavor combinations. Without a doubt, I loved the dish, but it's important to consider what I'm paying for it because $29 is a lot for a hot dog. With that kind of money, I can get 4 recession specials from the legendary Glazed Papaya, which consist of 2 hot dogs and a medium tropical drink, but if I included tax and tip with Mischa's offering, I can get about 5 recession specials. But for me, Mischa's hot dog was still worth it. I'm passionate about food. It's one of the areas of my life that I'm willing to spend more than the average person for unique and memorable culinary experiences, and I definitely won't forget Mischa's hot dog. Plus, from a business standpoint, the amount of coverage and attention the restaurant has received from that one dish is remarkable. It's hard to succeed as a restaurant, especially in NYC when there are so many first-rate establishments. Mischa's hot dog has certainly put them on the map. The dish is a success not only for what it delivers in flavor, but also what it has done for the restaurant because at the end of the day, restaurants are also businesses. I definitely enjoyed my hot dog down to the last bite, but thankfully my lunch wasn't over yet as I still had dessert to look forward to. I went with the creme brulee with pomegranate berries. Presentation-wise, it clearly wasn't your average creme brulee. The custard was in the center of the bowl, surrounded by a moat of the berries. I really appreciated the unique fashion in which this dish was served, which made for a nice way to consume the creamy custard and fruit. Flavor-wise, the dessert was an absolute winner. The tartness of the berries were nicely tempered by the custard, while the brulee top added the classic creme brulee crunchy texture. However, I did feel that the top of the dish could have been bruleed a bit more, but nonetheless, the dessert was very pleasant. After finishing, it was time for the bill. My total came to $45.73, but with my tip, I spent about $55. In addition, printed on the receipt was a very thought-provoking question: is a hot dog a sandwich? After extensive research on the matter, I can see the logic on both sides of the spectrum, but I've concluded that I don't really give a damn. Simply put, hot dogs are delicious, and that's what truly matters to me.
So that was an enjoyable lunch. Now, before going to the restaurant, I thought if I'm spending $29 for a hot dog, I'm thinking to myself, this better be the best damn hot dog that I've ever had. And in some ways, it was. Now, if one forgets about the price and if one sets aside the notion of what a hot dog is supposed to be, it is a delicious and wonderful dish. But I'll always have a love for the simplicity and tastiness of something from like Glazed Papaya or Papaya King. However, I just love the fact that Mischa took the hot dog and elevated it to a fine dining level. In this circumstance, I'm kind of reminded of when I was back in Chicago a few months ago and I went to the restaurant Kindling, which offered a $29 Italian beef sandwich. Just like the hot dog, the Italian beef sandwich is usually a pretty affordable dish, and Kindling, just like Mischa, caused a bit of controversy when they came out with it. Now, I know there will always be those who will say Italian beef should be cheap, hot dogs should be cheap. But personally, I have no problem if a restaurant wants to elevate a dish like that to a fine dining level. I think there's room enough in this world for both. Just like how one can get a nice and simple burger from a fast food restaurant, one can also get a really luxurious and tailored burger from a fine dining establishment like the Black Label Burger from Minetta Tavern. But in the case of the hot dog, there just haven't been as many people who have attempted to take it into the fine dining realm. So in the end, was the hot dog worth it? Yes, but it's clearly not the dish one can have every day. Yeah, it's pretty damn expensive, but one gets much better value if you combine it with the prefix menu or you get it during happy hour. Plus, I really enjoyed all the other food I had today from the restaurant, and their dinner menu looks really interesting. I'd love to go back there someday just to sample some items from that. In conclusion, I never thought I'd be spending that much money on a hot dog, but it was pretty damn good, and I'll definitely be back to Mischa.